Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. You saw your prediction from the East, you saw my prediction from the East, and I kind of convinced Jason to do his prediction.
Nice.
He doesn't like being on camera, as you know, and as you know at home. He's not a big camera guy. He was the host of our podcast for a while until he moved to PEI. We're still going to try and involve him for sure in content, but he took the time. He filmed a video.
Oh, that's great.
He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't like being on camera.
But he's good at it.
But he is good at it.
Yeah.
I love when Jason's on camera. He doesn't have the confidence that he should, because he's good.
He's lights out.
He's lights out for sure. I always love watching Jason. His insight. He knows a lot more than he thinks he knows, and I know that you guys have the same opinion at home. So he's predicted the Eastern Conference standings, and he's going to take you through them right now. Jason, take it away.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I talked to you. It's good to see you. Neil asked me to make a video with playoff predictions, and my first response to that was, "Are you crazy?" Now I didn't tell him that. That was what I thought, saying I don't know anything. So what is there for this channel to be gained by asking a guy who doesn't know anything playoff predictions? So I thought about it for a few days, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. And for those of you that know me, you know that I don't really like to be in front of the camera unless it's with someone, and I'm by myself here. And if it's something that I'm talking about that I actually know a little bit about. And Brent's the kind of guy that focuses on his team and kind of has a general awareness of the rest of the league. So he's a Habs fan. His focus is entirely on the Habs, while he still kind of knows what's going on in a general broad sense. I think that's how it is. And I'm exactly the same way. I'm a Bruins fan, and I pay attention to the Bruins. And I kind of have an idea of what's going on. I see, I'll watch games, I'll watch highlights, I'll see scores and stuff like that. But I don't know the other teams like I know my team, or even close. So asking me to give playoff predictions is something that, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of value in it for you guys, other than to see how wrong I will be. And I guess there's value in that, because it could be funny and you could roast me in the comments. Why not? I've got 5 teams coming out of the Metro, 3 coming out of the Atlantic. I don't know how other people are picking theirs, because I haven't seen them, but kind of when I look at things, that's kind of where I would guess things will fall. And like I said, I'm probably going to be wrong, but here I go. So number 1, I have Pittsburgh. I don't think that's surprising to anyone. I can't imagine anyone going into making a playoff prediction without having Pittsburgh on that list. I would be completely surprised to see anyone, whether on YouTube or at work, anyone who didn't have Pittsburgh on their list for a playoff prediction. Crosby, Malkin, Murray, a healthy Letang. They've got Jim Rutherford trying to do his best to fill in the core. He's done a great job. Mike Sullivan is a great coach. That team is just going to be competitive for a long time, and you just should pencil them in almost every year as an automatic guarantee in the playoffs. Number 2, I've got Washington. I think they're trending downward this year from last year. I kind of feel like last year they went all in, trying to make last year their year. They got beat by the Penguins in the playoffs. It was definitely a step back for them. I think they're taking a step back this year. They've lost a lot of key players. They've lost Kevin Shattenkirk, Alzner, Schmidt, Johansson, and Williams. That's going to open up their blue line a little bit and require new people to come in, new younger people to come in and try to fill those shoes. And I think Washington is still going to be a great regular season team. They usually always are. I don't see them winning the President's Trophy this year. They've won it for the last 2 years, being the best team in the league. I think they're not going to do that this year, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for their team. There is no doubt there is a lot of pressure on Washington to get further in the playoffs, get to the finals, win a cup. There's no doubt about it. But I think not being the top team in the league may just a little bit remove a little bit of that pressure. If you go into the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row being the best team in the league in terms of the regular season, the expectations are just through the roof that you have to do better. And I think if you go in being not quite as good, you're not the best team in the league, you're just down a little bit, maybe it removes that just a little bit of pressure and gives them just that little bit more breathing room in the playoffs that they haven't had, because we all know that they just haven't had a great postseason, Washington. So I've got them there. I don't know how far they'll go. I think we're going to get a lot of the same as last year, maybe, just not as high in the regular season. But I do have them there as my number 2. Number 3, I have Columbus. And I think they were one of the biggest surprises of the league last year. They went on that big 16-game winning streak. Bobrovsky played out of his mind. I think if they can keep that going, they have a really good chance of making the playoffs again this year. I wasn't sure what to think when John Tortorella was brought in to be that coach, but the team has played well for him. It's an exciting team to watch. It's great for their city, and I think if they just keep up doing what they did last year, this year, I think they'll be in a playoff spot again. Number 4 and 5, I'm not really sure what order to put this in. I've got Carolina on one hand and New York on the other. I think the Rangers are going to be a lot of what they were last year. They picked up Smith, Anthony DeAngelo, Kevin Shattenkirk. They've got a better blue line this year. Lundqvist has to continue to play well, or maybe even a little bit better than he did last year. As with most teams, it comes down to health and goaltending and their core. And if the Rangers are healthy and those players play like they did last year or even close, I think you're just going to get more of the same way you got last year. And New York is just going to fill either be at the bottom of that division in terms of the top of the division. That's good English, isn't it? But they'll either be in the top 3, maybe the 3rd, or they're going to be taking one of those wild card spots. So, and then I have Carolina, which is a team that's very similar to Toronto Maple Leafs, actually, I think. Maybe not quite that level, but they're definitely a team that's trending upward. They finished the season very strong last year. They were close to getting in. They have a lot of young players who are exciting to watch, and I think as a group they're going to continue to grow and play, and they're just going to get better. And I think that's going to be an exciting franchise to watch. They picked up Scott Darling from Chicago. If he can play lights out, I just think that Carolina does have a shot of making the playoffs. Maybe they don't, but I think they do, and we'll see. Over to the Atlantic, I have Tampa Bay. This is a team that a lot of people picked last year for their predictions to go far, maybe even win it all. And I'm going to jump on that bandwagon this year because, not having Stamkos for almost all of the year was a huge loss for that team. So if Stamkos is healthy this year, this is going to be a scary team to play against. And if it comes down to Pittsburgh and Tampa, I'm putting my money on Tampa because I think Pittsburgh's played a lot of hockey in the last couple of years, 2 cups in a row. Tampa didn't make it last year. I just think that Tampa is looking very, very good this year. If Stamkos is healthy, he's just gonna be a machine. He missed all of last year. He's gonna want to get in there. He's gonna be wanting to put numbers up on those boards. He will. And I think in terms of the East, I think Tampa is the team to beat. Ben Bishop's gone. Vasilevsky's there now. I think he's gonna be an awesome goaltender. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2, 3, 4 years if you see Vezina votes coming this guy's way. I think he's really good. I think he's really exciting. And Jonathan Drouin's gone, and then Mikhail Sergachev's in the Montreal trade that happened. It'll be interesting to see how well Sergachev plays, and I think if Stamkos is healthy and the rest of that team is healthy, I don't think the Drouin loss is going to be that big. I think Tampa's got a really good team there. Number 2, I've got Toronto. Again, this is a team that is obviously trending upwards. I kind of hate that saying, but a lot of the hockey guys use it, so here I am using it now. The question I have is, did they overachieve last year? There's no doubt that Marner, Matthews, Nylander, that group is awesome. They are stud young guys. They are very, very talented hockey players. In the future, Toronto's going to have a problem deciding what to do with all of them because they're all going to be so good. They're all going to be getting paid, and the team eventually won't be able to afford them all. Right now, they're all still young guys, so the team doesn't have that problem. So, very, very exciting team to watch. The question I have is about the the overachieving from last year, or if they overachieved, was Toronto didn't really have any major injuries last year. And, name other teams that did. And Toronto barely made it in. And if let's just say Matthews missed 3 weeks or 4 weeks due to an injury, would Toronto have made it? Chances are probably not. If Frederik Andersen had a major injury and missed a month or 3 weeks, would they have made it? Probably not. So I think the team is continuing to trend upwards. They've actually got a lot of depth now, which is kind of crazy to say for a team that was where it was a couple years ago. But this is going to be a really fun team to watch. I'm kind of jealous of Toronto fans. It's kind of exactly what you want. You had a team that was just, for all intents and purposes, just not good, not fun. You had fans booing them, throwing their jerseys on the ice. Like, you went from that to probably one of the, if not the most exciting young teams in the league. And so I think Toronto will do better. I think Anderson will play lights out, and I think they will make or get another playoff spot this year. And for my final pick from the Atlantic, I have a toss-up because I'm actually not sure who's going to take that final pick. On one hand, I've got the Montreal Canadiens, who I think are trending downwards, and I have the Ottawa Senators, who I also think are trending downwards. And these are both playoff teams last year, so I think one of them is not going to make it. It could be Ottawa not making it. It could be Montreal not making it. Now, I know you don't put a lot of thought into preseason games, but as of the time I'm making this video, Montreal hasn't won a game yet. They played Detroit. They played Toronto the other night. They lost 4-2, and for the most part, Montreal had their main lineup out, and Toronto didn't. They were playing mostly rookies, fighting for spots. So, again, I know you can't put a lot of thought or consideration into preseason games, but they picked up Drouin. Obviously, that's going to help them offensively. Is it going to be enough? That's the question. They've got the goaltending. Everybody knows Carey Price is probably the best goaltender in the world. But again, is it going to be enough? Can he continue to carry that team? You could argue that the defense is worse now with Markov gone. It depends on what side of the fence you are with Markov. It's going to come down to whether Montreal can put points up on the board. Goal scoring has always been the issue, and if they can find the goal scoring, I think Montreal will definitely be a playoff team. If they can't, I think they're going to miss, and I think it's kind of the same deal with Ottawa. Carlson has a massive injury to his ankle over the offseason that required surgery. If he's not able to play at 100%, that is going to really hurt that team because he is the backbone of that team. And at the start of the season, we just don't know how well his ankle is going to hold up or how well he's going to be able to play. So if he's able to somehow go 100% and Montreal slips, I could easily see Montreal or Ottawa making it over Montreal. If Carlson can't do what he did last year, then I think they're going to slip, and next year they're going to run into problems with their salary as well because certain people need to get paid, and there's just not enough money in the system in Ottawa to keep everyone. So as an aside, I'm a Bruins fan, and I didn't mention the Bruins, and that makes me sad, but I really don't think, again, Boston being a playoff team last year, I don't think they're going to make it this year, and I think it's possible that Boston has a better team this year, and they'll still miss because I think the other teams around them are also going to be better. Chara's getting older, and he's already slow. You could tell last year people were figuring out ways to get around him. There was times where he looked okay. There was times he looked absolutely terrible, and he's just 1 year older, and I just take that as he's just going to be that much slower and just that much easier to get around. And they have the young guy, Charlie McAvoy, coming up. I think he is going to be a stud defenseman for the team. But he's almost coming in trying to fill a number one role. And that's a lot to ask for the kid to put him in right away. I don't know how he's going to be able to hold up to that. Defense is something that's very hard to play. If you're the number one defenseman, you're playing against the top players of every team, line or night in, night out. You're matching up with them. So I just don't know. I can't see the team making it this year. And I'm really hard on my team. I'm really hard on the Bruins. I nitpick at the little things more than I look at the positives. Brad Marchand had a breakout year last year. If he doesn't have the year last year that he had, would they have made it? Maybe, maybe not. Is it realistic to expect him to put up the same kind of numbers this year that he did last year? I would say probably not. I think he'll do quite well still, but it's not going to be quite as high as last year. And I think there's just a lot of young players still kind of getting their footing on the Bruins organization, and I think they're a team that's going to be right about in the middle, and they're just going to miss out. And as a Bruins fan, that's obviously really disappointing. But hopefully I'll be wrong. But I really don't think I'm going to be. So anyway, those are my predictions. Pittsburgh, Washington, Columbus, Carolina, Rangers, Tampa, Toronto, and either Ottawa or Montreal. I'm not, like I said, I don't really know. It depends on how well Karlsson can manage his health problems with his ankle, and it depends on if Montreal can find offense. So those are my predictions. I guess we can come back and look at this in months down the road and see how wrong I was. And anyway, thanks for taking the time to listen, and I'll catch you guys later. See you later.
All right, big thanks to Jason there for taking the time to film the video. That was awesome. I really appreciate that. And I know you guys will appreciate it at home. Jason has a lot of fans at home. In some of the logo ranking videos, Jason doesn't say much. And people say, why isn't Jason saying anything? It's because Jason doesn't say a lot, but when he says something, you listen.
Yeah.
Because he's the man.
Yeah.
Jason is the man. So when he talks, you listen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up this video. Jason, thank you very much for doing your predictions. We really appreciate that. And thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you in the next video. Adios.